President Tinubu is whatever he calls him. I don't like to use that phrase, so that they don't say I repeated the phrase. No, it's not my opinion.
We're not going to Abuja.
I don't want to, because, if you repeat a defamatory statement, you can also be held liable. So,
except you're reporting.
Subsequent publishing, can be an offense. Okay. But,
Let's begin what's trending with a major legal development as the Department of State Services on Tuesday filed a 5-count criminal charge against activist and presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore at the Federal High Court in Abuja. The charges center on a specific post where Sowore called President Bola Ahmed Tinubu a criminal and accused him of lying about corruption levels in Nigeria during a recent trip to Brazil. The DSS described Showore's post as false, malicious, and inciting. In an unprecedented move, the Secret Service Police also listed X-Corp and Meta Incorporation as defendants for failing to delete Showore's accounts despite official demands. The DSS had initially given Sowore a 1-week ultimatum on September 8th to delete the posts, but both the activists and the social media platforms refused to comply. Well, in response, Omoyele Sowore filed a counter lawsuit against the Department of State Services, Meta, and X-Corp at the Federal High Court in Abuja. The human rights activist is challenging what he describes as unconstitutional censorship of his social media accounts, seeking court orders to prevent the platforms from deleting his posts, and called President Bola Ahmed Tinubu a criminal. Well, through his lawyer, Sowore argues that the case is fundamentally about the survival of free speech in Nigeria. The lawsuit directly counters the DSS's 5-count criminal charges, with Showore's legal team citing Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution, which guarantees freedom of expression without interference. Showore's legal team also warned that if state agencies can dictate to global platforms who may speak and what may be said, then no Nigerian is safe from having their voices silenced at the whim of those in power. I'll take some reactions. This is from John, who wrote on X. He wrote, "I don't believe you are interested in leading this country." You're laughing. "Everything just seems like cruising for you. You can't be serious about real change and mobilizing people for 2027 election and have time for this with the federal government. No iota of wisdom, and everything is just aluta continua." Well, another ex-user wrote, "This is a significant move by Yele Sowore, with the case getting more serious than I had imagined. The court's ruling could set an important precedent for how platforms handle politically sensitive content." Dr. Abati, this is a new development. We took the story when it broke, and now the DSS has filed a lawsuit against Sowore and the social media platforms. Your thoughts? Okay,
there are 2 cases on the table. The DSS went to court to sue on 2 grounds. Charges count 2 and 3 of the charges accuse Sowore of defamation against the person of the President of the Federal Republic. Now, I found that a bit curious because defamation is personal, and the President of Nigeria can sue in his personal capacity that he has been defamed. The main issue here is that the DSS is saying he called the President a criminal. So the charge will be he should come and prove it, that the President is a criminal. However, the DSS in the other charges is also saying, well, I haven't finished with that, defamation. Now, the interpretation will be that, Sowore, DSS acting on behalf of the President, is accusing him of sedition. Now, even in the UK, where sedition was in their laws, they revised it long ago and removed it, because sedition, it simply means in the old jurisprudence that you cannot criticize the king or the queen, that the sovereign, is infallible. So, but we cannot have that kind of situation in Nigeria. So sedition is an obsolete kind of law. However, the DSS will seem to be standing on a stronger ground when they now quoted in another charge Section 24 of the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2024 as amended, where they said that Showore's insistence that the President of Nigeria is a criminal and that it was wrong to have said that there is no corruption, in terms of fuel subsidy in Nigeria, can lead to a breakdown of law and order. Now they can rely on that Cybercrime Act, Section 24 of it. I know it's controversial, but they will be on stronger ground there before the court. However, Sowore has now gone to the same court to say that the DSS, Meta, X,
yes,
formerly known as Twitter, cannot delete his post that President Tinubu is whatever he calls him. I don't like to use that phrase, so that they don't say I repeated the phrase.
And then
no, it's not my opinion.
We're not going to Abuja.
I don't want to, because, if you repeat a defamatory statement, you can also be held liable. So,
except you're reporting.
Subsequent publishing, can be an offense. Okay. But, he is now saying that he has the right to express himself under Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution. The thing to say, the caveat to add, and his lawyers should know this, is that there are no absolute rights under Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution. You cannot say you want to express yourself and you injure the reputation of another person. Right. But we now have two matters before the Federal High Court. Right. For the court, it's for the court to determine. That is it. A date has not been fixed yet in both cases for hearing, but I think that, look, this right to free speech, it also has its limits.
It does.
And the use of social media also has its limits. But Showore, who is, a legendary activist, is insisting that the struggle continues.
Aluta.
And that whether he's taken to prison or any attempt is made to censor him, he will continue to fight.
All right.
So here, you have a delicate situation. But it will be interesting to see what the courts decide.
Right.
Because here, the important thing is to always test the law.
Yes, this is it. This is the main point. At the end of the day, let us test the law.